You know, they say all you need is love. Well, all I need is some Reddit Dota 2 League action. I'm Zoran. We got Nobody Cares Europe up against the Riders of Roshan Barbecue. This is game 1 of 2. I'm not going to be around for game 2, but I'm here for game 1. We're in the band stage. First band still to come up from Riders of Roshan. They've got first choice at the pool. Are they going to go right ahead with the typical mixed band, or are they going to do something else? They're going to go with Keeper of the Light. Pretty normal as the first band. Normal in these first 4, Keeper of the Light. You know, a lot of typical choices would be your Nyx Bat Rider is the 1-2. There's the Nyx. And it's usually the second band that actually bans out the Nyx and Bat. The first one can try and sneak whatever they want through, and usually it's not one of those two that gets through. Will it be, we could see common bands of Wisp, Magnus. We've seen a lot of PL banned out in the initial 4 in this league. Don't know if we're going to see that here. That's what we're waiting on. Early on, a lot to flesh out to see where each team wants to go. So just waiting on that for now. We ended up having a stand-in come in at the last minute here for Nobody Cares Europe. We'll see if that ends up affecting their play at all. I mean, when you have a stand-in, sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse than the person they're standing in for, but the cohesion isn't necessarily there. You don't have the experience with them. You usually don't have the same level of communication. But now it's just waiting on this last band. If we're going standard, it's standard can be. It is the Bat Rider. So we've got Darkseer still in the pool. That is also another very popular pick early on in the pick stage. Usually makes it through that first 4 picks, but often chosen shortly thereafter. We also have Gyrocopter available. So perhaps we will see that as well. Wisp also in the pool. If either of the teams feels that they can run that effectively, that could be a possibility. Nobody Cares Europe is going to have the second pick, so they'll get 2 choices depending what's left over after this first pick from Riders of Roshan. They do indeed enjoy their barbecue. The question is, though, charcoal or propane? Chaos Knight, the first pick. Really, really unusual to have that as a first pick. Particularly when you consider that there's still Wisp available. Perhaps they're just assuming that Nobody Cares won't pick it because Chaos Knight's not available, but I would find it very entertaining if right now Nobody Cares Europe chose Wisp Tiny, for example, or Wisp Sven, Ursa, whatever buddy combo, Life Stealer, and there he is. Are they going to pick Wisp as their second pick? I don't think so, but it would be fun. They're going into their reserve time, so they're not quite sure either. Going to have to think about this a little more, use some of that pool. But Chaos Knight, not going to be highest priority. He's probably going to make it through all the way to the 3rd pick stage. Perhaps they're doing this as like a preemptive counter pick block in case Nobody Cares was going to go for the Wisp and then, oh, but they can't get Chaos Knight. That's kind of stretching it. Riders of Roshan could just really like Chaos Knight, but I would expect that would be something left until later in their picks. However, that does leave open the possibility that they're going to have 4 increasingly weird choices that never get picked. That's what I'm looking forward to. So, I don't know what we want to see. What would be weird? I'd like to see, say, you know, an Ogre Magi maybe, Spirit Breaker, Bloodseeker, Treant. We've seen a few of those actually run in a scrim. We saw a Spirit Breaker run by Deleted. Also seen Ogre Magi run by Deleted. Treant, no Treant picks so far in the Reddit Dota 2 League. Nobody values that gigantic 80+ base damage. Leshrac as the next pick for Riders of Roshan. They're quite a ways into their own reserve time. Now, I didn't really mention the Bane pick on the side of Nobody Cares. That's something of a block pick. That's going to prevent Riders of Roshan, Barbecue. Choose that as a counter pick to Lifestealer. Bane, definitely a very popular choice as a counter pick to Lifestealer. Both enfeeble as just shutting down his damage quite a bit in terms of the life steal, as well as abilities that go through magic immunity, such as Fiend's Grip. It may not do the damage through magic immunity, but it will hold him in place and take him out of the action. Lena followed up on Nobody Cares, but we did see the Phantom Lancer in that first 3 picks from the Riders of Roshan. He doesn't have his buddy there, the Keeper of the Light, to keep him fueled in his mana for that Spirit Lance spam, but if he gets the room, he can still farm up quite effectively. Chaos Knight can provide the mid-game presence to allow Phantom Lancer to have free farm during that time and build up to his it's really the Diffusal Blade and Heart where you really get going as Phantom Lancer. Before that, you're going to feel a bit naked. But the thing is, they don't have that Wisp tied to the Chaos Knight, so it's a bit harder for Chaos Knight to have that big mid-game presence. Can't keep the opposing team scared from showing up in lane on their own and forcing them to move as a group. But it is still in the pool, so they could still pick it up toward the latter stages, though if they were going to go for it, I would have expected it in those first 3 picks. Now we're into the second ban phase, so we're going to see the final ban outs. Shadow Demon banned on the side of Nobody Cares Europe. It is very possible that we'll see... Actually, I keep calling him Wisp. I do have to make the transition. IO, as he's now called. They took so long to change that name, too. That's just not fair. But Earthshaker. So both sides banning out supports. Riders still need to fill out that additional support role, assuming that Leshrac is indeed playing a support role and, say, not a solo mid, which we did used to see quite a lot, not so much anymore. Very much in that 4-5 role.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm not sure where Earthshaker would have fit in on the side of Nobody Cares, but it is something of a counter pick to Phantom Lancer's Echo Slam, being more effective based on the number of units nearby, and with Phantom Lancer wanting to build up that Phantom army, Echo Slam becomes increasingly strong with each illusion around, so they can be used against him. So it's sensible in that regard, but in terms of the lineup, it didn't really fit in. Already seeing the Bane and Lena on Nobody Cares. Queen of Pain and Beastmaster both banned, so now moving into the solo mids, both sides looking to fill out that solo mid role. Again, assuming that Leshrac's not taking that up, and we're now into our final ban choices. We'll see if they continue the trend and ban out an additional solo mid to prevent Nobody Cares from getting their own choice. However, that is a bit counterintuitive given that Roshan wants that additional solo mid for themselves. Queen of Pain, not one of those they're going to be seeing, or Beastmaster. Beastmaster, also another counter pick, blocked out. Shadow Demon. So all the typical choices to go up against the Lifestealer and shut him down, Bane, Shadow Demon, Beastmaster, all not available. In terms of hard carries, that's the last choice out of Riders of Roshan to remove from the pool. Faceless Void, not going to be an option for Nobody Cares Europe. We can't tell right now if Lifestealer is going to either the 1 or the 2 role. We've seen both. Sometimes you see Lifestealer paired up with another carry, such as Lone Druid, to have a bit more late game potential, as Lifestealer does peak a bit more toward the mid game as opposed to super late game. Clockwork will be the final ban. We didn't really see a solo off lane. However, given that we see Phantom Lancer and Chaos Knight, especially along with Leshrac, it's very possible we'll be seeing an aggressive tri-lane out of Riders of Roshan, and Rubik can work quite well with that also. And that would give a solo lane to the Phantom Lancer, which would be alright depending on what he's up against. Chaos Knight typically not going to be in the solo mid or in a solo lane role. And with the additional carry available, in the Phantom Lancer. It seems like they're not going to be going for the typical tri-lane setup. Warlock will be chosen by Nobody Cares. Have to assume he's the one going mid. There is definitely aggressive tri-lane potential out of Nobody Cares Europe as well. Lifestealer, Bane, Lina not to be underestimated in terms of both lockdown and burst damage. Riders need to flush out their lineup, looking for a solo mid. Still in pool, Templar Assassin. We also see Puck available as another common pick. But we'll have to see what they end up going with against Storm Spirit as well. But they're going to go with Kunkka. So this is an interesting lineup, to say the least. A triple carry lineup. They have the late game potential in Phantom Lancer. But I think this may be a bit... They may be stretching their farm a bit thin. Kunkka... Chaos Knight tends to thrive on farming heroes more than creeps, but Kunkka's going to want to get some creep farm of his own, while Phantom Lancer's going to be really going to be wanting to farm anywhere and everywhere he can, pretty much throughout the entire game. We'll have to see how the lanes flesh out. As mentioned, we really could see an aggressive tri-lane out of Riders of Roshan. That's the only way I actually see this working out, unless they do a 2-1-2 or maybe dual mid, basically two double lanes and a solo lane perhaps. But right now it's looking to me like Kunkka mid, aggressive tri-lane with Chaos Knight, Leshrac, and Rubik, and Phantom Lancer in the solo safe lane. Nobody Cares need to finish out their own lineup, looking for an off-laner if that's what they want to do. At least a solo lane hero to flush this out. Bounty Hunter has been a popular pick in the league. And actually throughout all of this, Darkseer has made it all the way through to the last pick. But down to the final 10 seconds, if they don't pick within this time, it's going to pick for them Templar Assassin. So that really must mean they could miss each other in aggressive tri-lanes and create for a really unusual situation. So Templar Assassin's going mid. We've got our supports in Bane and Lina, presumably, and then Warlock could potentially could potentially be in a solo safe lane position. While the game is paused, we'll go through each of our players, starting with on the Dire side. We have, for Nobody Cares Europe, Drake on the Lifestealer, B. Judd controlling the Lina. Warlock will be taken on by Fauntleroy. Iceberg will be on the Templar Assassin, and El Zilcho will be controlling the Bane. On the Radiant side, it's the Riders of Roshan Barbecue. Greeny will be on the Phantom Lancer. Trektus, presumably a stand-in, on the Rubik. Crunk is controlling Leshrac. Machine has the Chaos Knight, and then Apegrim is Kunkka. So these teams looking out for me. Hey, nice little shout out there. And as I was mentioning, they're looking out for me with the easy to pronounce names. Not too bad there. You know, no traditional Chinese characters. That's appreciated. You know, I need to brush up on my traditional Chinese. Not big on the Mandarin. Unfortunately, with this pause, they haven't bought any items yet, so I can't really talk about that. But we could talk about what they could potentially do. As I was mentioning, we were going to... It really starting to look like they're both going to try to aggressive tri-lane. And if neither think about it and just go about their business, we could see a really interesting situation where we have Chaos Knight, Leshrac, and Rubik against a solo safe lane Warlock. And then Phantom Lancer going 1v3 against Lifestealer, Bane, and Lina. The only thing I feel really confident about is that in the mid, we should be seeing Templar Assassin up against Kunkka. And Templar Assassin actually matches up relatively well against Kunkka. Kunkka can be really annoying in that in a 1v1 lane. Tidebringer. A lot of free harass, and it has a huge range. But with refraction, you properly timed, properly predicted, you can negate a lot of that damage. It will only take one refraction charge, so it's not even going to use it up entirely. And perhaps that's what Nobody Cares Europe had in mind, having seen that Kunkka pick, responding, taking a lot of time on their last pick, and carefully deliberating about what would match up best, and Templar Assassin is a good choice for that. We'll have to see. If either team is thinking the way I am, we could see an adjustment, and one of them going into a defensive lane just to match it up. The best thing would be if both thought the same thing I am, both adjusted to defensive tri-lanes, and then we had off-lane Warlock up against off-lane Phantom Lance. Off-lane Chaos Knight or Phantom Lancer. That would be fun. But now we're back underway. Now you take a look at where everyone's going. Circlet. I guess Phantom Lancer going to be planning on going into an Aquila after his Tranquil Boots. Chaos Knight headed up. I guess he's going to be camping the rune. We have a drawing on the map, going to move around, looking to secure the opposing camp. As mentioned, we're seeing an offensive tri-lane, and it looks like it's going to work out the way I mentioned.
30 seconds to battle.
But the Riders of Roshan taking their time. Are we actually going to see dual lanes here? We may actually see dual lanes. Rubik in trouble. Caught out. No, that's the wrong direction. Light Strike Array on top. Bane is there with right clicks. Open Runes is running out, but too late. Brain Sap going to be first skilled. And that's it. Unfortunate reaction there. If Rubik had any chance, he was going to have to come up all the way around here, but didn't work out. And that's an immediate first blood out of Nobody Cares Europe. That goes to the Bane. So that could be instant boots. We could have an instant courier upgrade. He should be spending that on one of those two things pretty much immediately, I would expect. And with that move out, they are able to secure the block of the pull camp. And they get a nice little ward up to get some vision on both the rune and this little area over here. And we do end up having dual lanes, so that was a possibility, as mentioned. A little surprised that that's how it worked out, but that's going to be the decision. It's going to be kind of tough here on the Phantom Lancer. However, with the sharing of experience, he could slowly pull ahead in that, but it will be a while, and it will be a while in terms of the CS to really feel very good there at all. TA getting off to a good start, 6-1, up against a really shut down 2-0, but we're only a minute in. See if that turns around at all. So far, the Bane copying a lot of damage, as is Lina, taking a lot of damage just from the creeps, being a little over-aggressive right there. So, however, again, with no Keeper of the Light, no refill there, and it could be a bit limited in the harass. One more lance coming up, so we'll be able to use that very soon. Warlock going to be just fine here. Maybe not the best farm, but he's going to get the levels, and the levels are what's a bit more important. The items aren't the biggest thing on Warlock. Of course, it's really nice if you can get up that Aghanim Scepter or Refresher or both. But you don't need it. You don't need that to have the impact, but you do need the levels. You need to get up your ult, and preferably level 2 ult, if not 3, as well as some points in both Shadow Ward and in Fatal Bonds. Upheaval, not the biggest thing, though perhaps a bit underrated in that it can be very effective. A lift up from Rubik, actually doing a good amount of damage. The Fade Bolt, not enough, and now Lifestealer going on the Phantom Lancer, him using that lance. He does not have Doppelwalk. Throws down a sentry, not needed. He doesn't have the mana for it. He should be able to see that. If he clicked him, now the Phantom Lancer in a lot of trouble. Bane looks like he's going to get it. Lift up. But they do get the Phantom Lancer to finish him off. Now Rubik in a bit of trouble. Taking a few right clicks. With that one more right click, that might actually be enough with Bane. Open wounds, and that's it. Down goes Rubik as well. Both down in this lane. Several low health heroes on the side of Nobody Cares Europe. But that is 2-0, and it's 3-0 for Nobody Cares Europe, coming out to a big early lead and winning this bottom lane by quite a bit. Actually, Templar Assassins not moving around for just a moment, but back in the action. If we look here, the Warlock already level 4, level 3 on the opposing sides. Looking about halfway to level 6. In terms of CS, also actually ahead of the Chaos Knight, so absolutely everything going the way of Nobody Cares Europe here in the early game. However, we do have to keep in mind that if it doesn't get too out of hand, Riders of Roshan does have the late game lineup. You know, in an end game scenario, Nobody Cares Europe really can't hold up. Oh, but a lift! But not enough, just rages and runs away. The right click damage not there at all to finish him off. And we're quite alright. So, we have a couple other casters around, having a bit of trouble with Dota TV. Not sure what's going on there, but we'll keep focused on the action. A little damage out on Bane, but again, when he's using those Spirit Lances, that means he does not have the mana for Doppelwalk. If he's keeping that mana low, it's not available. We do have the Sentry Ward, but you know, that has limited range. You get out of range and then you're safe. So it's still the escape mechanism for the Phantom Lancer, better than nothing. TA going to be able to pick up that regen rune, and now Lestrak in a bit of trouble. Level 6 is there. There's the slow. No boots, though. Gotta be careful. Hits with the Split Earth, and not going to pursue that out anymore. Still no upgrade on this on either courier. This is really late. Normally you see that before 2 minutes. Bane with the Soul Ring first. Doing very well for himself. There's the courier upgrade. Still nothing on the side of Riders Roshan, who's been having a bit harder of a time. Again, 4-0. So awfully rough. And again, in this mid, Templar Assassin, dominant. 39/5 versus 5/0. That is about as hard as you can win a lane. Oh, wow, I missed Warlock getting a kill for himself. And he didn't even have to commit the Chaotic Offering. I don't know what happened there. Chaos Knight perhaps being a bit over-aggressive. And it is now 5-0. This CS for Templar Assassin is absolutely absurd. 43/5 at 6 minutes. This is free farm CS we're talking right now. Another Lance on the Lifestealer, has to back up a bit. Only 6 minutes in, but a clear trend in the graphs. Kunkka just having a very hard time of it. Oh, does not even get that. There we go. A CS for... There's a creep for him. Things slow down just a little bit. And right now, I just don't think the lanes have been the lanes have not worked out in terms of Riders of Roshan. Just in concept, it just hasn't been the best idea. Dual lanes can certainly work, but it is situational. And I'm not sure this was a situation, but Lifestealer perhaps a bit over-aggressive, going to turn and go on the Phantom Lancer. He's down to 40 health, but is able to get away. Oh, just barely. He's still there and gets taken out. Feeling a bit invincible in the invisibility, but Sentry Ward is down. And so, then is Phantom Lancer. At the same time, we lost Leshrac. Unfortunately, he couldn't follow both at the same time. That's 7-0. Nobody cares Europe. Certainly looks very bad, but again, we do have to remind you that Riders of Roshan does have the better late game. If it continues like this, it will be very unlikely to get there. But if they can steady this out, stem the tide, it can turn around in the long run. But it's looking like a very long run right now. Invisibility rune toward bottom. Templar Assassin been in control of this the whole way. Going on the Kunkka. One more hit and that's it. And there's a kill for the Templar Assassin on top of the 57/5 CS. Going with the tread build. Actually been coming back recently. For a long while, you used to always see phase. As Templar Assassin does tend to be a bit more about the burst. This mid tower going to go down. So Templar Assassin, 58/59/5. With a tower, a kill, and if we just look at the net worth, tripling the Kunkka, who is the highest farmer on the Radiant side. Kunkka is 13-0, and he has the highest net worth on Riders of Roshan. But in comes a lot of damage. Templar Assassin, a follow-up stun. Chaos Knight trying to juke his way out of this, but Did he really just do that? Oh, Warlock does catch him. Now Templar Assassin going for the dive. Oh, does not get the last right click. Two points in side blades, 3 in melt. Not quite enough to finish him off. But it's 10-0. Nobody cares Europe. Templar Assassin is the epitome of a snowball hero. She needs to get a good start and then gets out of control. And I don't think you can consider... You could not come up with a better start for a Templar Assassin. 60 CS at 10 minutes. A kill, a tower. Actually, 2 kills. A tower, an assist. And just looking great. We have the... Looks like we're going to have some action here in the bottom lane, though. We got 4 on the Radiant side. Lifestealer going to try and turn this around. Lightstriker Ray lands on Rubik. Now Lifestealer going on Rubik. The Split Earth lands. Now Lifestealer in a bit of trouble. And he goes down after the Spirit Lance. Leshrac, very low health. Bane going after it, but he could be in trouble. Lift up, along with the Split Earth. Gets the last right click on Leshrac. Trades himself for the pleasure, though. They get on the board. It's 11-3, 3-for-1 trade in the bottom lane. And something does go the way of Riders of Roshan. That's a start. You know, when you start getting down without a kill, that first kill can really be part of momentum. But talking about momentum, shut down by the Warlock ultimate. Chaotic Offering comes down. 2 dead already. Phantom Lancer and Rubik. Looks like 3. It will be 3. Double kill on the Warlock. Making that Chaotic Offering worth it. Riders of Roshan having a lost fight. They're having none of it. Turn that right around. 14-3. And now a tower to go with it.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Ward's keeping nice and refreshed. We actually don't have any vision out of Riders of Roshan right now. No wards on the map. Wards on heroes. No, none there either. A lot of bracers, which is often a sign that you're having a bit of trouble with your farm. Looks like they're going to be going for a tier 2 on the back of that remain golem from the Chaotic Offering. Got down to under half health. With the creeps pulled back, it will be close to as to whether or not they can actually get this. We do have everybody else back on the map. They're diving past Fiend's Grip on the Chaos Knight. Infest damage helps out. There's the Phantasm out of Chaos Knight. Lifestealer in a bit of trouble. And he goes down. 3 dead on the side of Nobody Cares Europe. And that looks like an overextension. A bit weird to see Bane as the initiator. And that just didn't work out. Templar Assassin looking to perhaps turn around and go for a kill. Very gutsy. Not gonna move back into lane into 3 heroes. 4 heroes actually. 14-6, and Riders of Roshan not turning over quite so easily. Tier 2 stands, albeit at quite low health, 320 left. Non-deny range, but getting there. Looks like Templar Assassin saving up for that typical blink. We've seen moves towards actual drum builds become more popular. Drum Yasha for just movement speed. But saving up 1,700 gold. Nope, just going for the full drums. Hadn't built that up in pieces, but actually is going for that movement speed build that I had mentioned. Just skipping the blink and going for a lot of movement speed on the ground, and albeit without the phase boots. Typically you go with treads in that build. Meld, always helpful in taking out Roshan, as well as Refraction. And this will be a relatively quick Roshan. As mentioned previously, no vision on the map for the Riders of Roshan. Not going to be riding them here. Instead, Roshan killed by the Dire side. No vision means there's no ability to respond to that, despite just taking a big fight under their tier 2.
Double damage.
And now it's Nobody Cares who has the option to try and use that Aegis however they want. Now rotating towards mid. It'd be a little weird to push in on the mid tower, considering the tier 2 bottom already low health. That would be the easier prey. But 5 coming out, looking for a pickoff. They go on Lena. Bursts down almost instantly. Templar Assassin, a lot of trouble now. Chaotic Offering looking to save the day. There's a kill for the Warlock. Templar Assassin turns it around. The Chaos Knight dead. Reinforcements are there, and that fight goes way wrong. They got the initial kill out on Lena, but the turnaround 4 to follow down for Riders of Roshan. 18-7. Nobody Cares Europe takes their own convincing team fight.
Middle tower is under attack.
And a tier 2 may be the cost.
Fortified.
Infest gets Lifestealer back into fighting shape. And this will be a tier 2. The gold goes to Warlock, who's working toward that Aghanim Scepter. Already has the point booster, almost there. Actually, already has something else coming out. He has the full Aghanim Scepter, in fact. So that tower gold could be going into a refresher orb. As we see by the pings, looks like the tier 2 top is going to be the next target. The Chaotic Offering down for another minute and a half, though, so they do have to keep that in mind. That was big in winning that last fight. Without it, they can't necessarily count on that turnaround. But looks like everybody's hanging around so far. So we may have a committal. A ping going out over by this ward. Not sure what that was indicating. And now there's the rotation. So they're not going to commit on this bottom tower. I'm not sure why the Infest icon is over top of Chaos Knight. Oh, is he in... Actually, so... Is he Infest... No. So I'm not sure why that's there, but at any rate, the actual Tier 2 bottom now within deny range. Templar Assassin looking to get in and snipe it before they can deny it, and does. Phantom Lance is going to doppel walk on out of there. And they pick off the courier as well. Was that still not upgraded? I don't know, maybe it doesn't look like it's been upgraded. Alright then. And now back to a bit of farming on the side of Nobody Cares Europe. Seems a bit weird to be taking a breath. Been a lot of action for it just consistently over and over for quite a while now. And again, this icon over Chaos Knight is going to confound me. The only remaining Tier 2 is top, so we have to assume that's going to be the next target. We see the Aegis. Let's check the timing on that. Oh, looks like it is almost out of time. Maybe another minute left. Maybe 2. I'm not good with time. Now here is that movement, as mentioned, towards this Tier 2 top. The only remaining Tier 2 on the side of the Radiant. Chaos Knight having a very rough time of things. Still just on treads and a bracer. And here comes the pressure. Let's see. Here's the Ghost Ship to initiate. Only hits the Bane. Lifestealer and Templar Assassin diving. Chaotic Offering to help them out. Rubik down very quickly. Chaos Knight in a lot of trouble. He does get off the Phantasm, but it doesn't matter. 2 dead. Chaos Knight barely surviving. 35 HP. And Tier 2 is now forfeit. Tier 3 is the only towers left. But we've seen in previous games that this is where the last stand really is. If you can hold the racks, you can come back. As long as you've got the late game potential. And Rise of Roshan do. However, the Tier 3 going down very quickly. And Kunkka not even up yet, just respawning just now. Racks down to half health. No glyph available, and they're going to lose the melee barracks. And this may be too much. Leshrac dead. Ghost Ship comes in. It lands. Aegis ends up being used, but it was almost running out of time anyway. No harm there. Rubik gets taken out. Double kill on the Templar Assassin. Chaos Knight now dead. And this is just farming of heroes in your own base. There'll be the rotation around. Infest not up for another 20 seconds. Bit of a heal going for the Lifestealer. Nice and handy right there. Desolator finished as well. But as soon as that Rax goes down, you lose a lot of farm. You have to keep consistent watch on that mega lane, and it's just rough. Certainly not impossible to come back from being down a Rax, but when you're already down this far, if we take a look at the graphs, 15,000 experience, even further looking at closing in on 25,000 gold. There's only so much you can do. We look at Phantom Lancer, and it gives you a very good idea of how this game has went. 21 minutes. Bracer and Robe of the Magi on top of his Tranquils. Not even close to that Diffusal Blade. Open wounds on Leshrac, but a bit of an overextension. Not willing to commit. There's the Chaotic Offering. Explodes Leshrac. Ship in response. but no follow-up. Now that could be considered overkill. But the Golems will help push into this tier 3. And a man down. Doesn't look like they're able to fight this at all.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
If Riders of Roshan want to do anything, they have to fight, and, well, they feel like they're not going to do anything, so they call GG, just going to give it up. Rax goes down. Riders of Roshan Barbecue not able to recover from that laning phase. That just did not go right. So it's been a steady lead over time. We did have the one turnaround there. A very nice team fight at the tier 2. But the next fight, again, went back in the way of Nobody Cares Europe, and that was about it. Gold looks very similar. Just going to hang out and wait to see the final score screen. Give you a look at that. And then you'll be able to move on to Game 2. You'll have to check out the other streams. I'm not going to be around for Game 2. But glad for anybody who was able to join me for Game 1.
Middle tower is under attack.
Always fun we get a bit of a different look. Perhaps not the most unusual heroes, but definitely unusual in how it played out. And the combination, seeing Kunkka, Chaos Knight, Phantomlancer, not the most common combination. Perhaps we saw why. The laning, definitely very difficult. Chaotic Offering to close out the game. And with that, we can take a look at our final score screen. Nobody Cares Europe taking Game 1 over Riders of Roshan. Warlock coming out big, 10-0, Templar Assassin. Though, gotta say the star of this game. Warlock may have gotten the kills, but the opening first 10 minutes, all the way of Templar Assassin. 60 CS, a tower, 2 kills, an assist. Huge in the early game, and it just carried right on through. Nobody Cares, up 1-0.